Hey, I'm Liz from No Trace. Welcome back to my channel. I recently saw an awesome tutorial by Sew Becca, who's here on YouTube, for how to make a really cute little fabric bookmark, just like this one. And in her tutorial, she uses interfacing. I don't use interfacing because it has plastic materials in it, so I try to avoid that wherever I can. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do the same cute little bookmark without using any interfacing, and also give you some tips on how to make sure you have the cutest piece of your fabric there on the corner. So let's go. These fabric bookmarks come together with just 3 squares of fabric that are each 4 inches. The trick to sewing these up without using any interfacing is to include a piece of canvas fabric in the set of 3 squares. I'm going to be using 1 4-inch square to form the triangular part of the bookmark, 1 4-inch square to be the back of the bookmark that's actually visible in your book, and then 1 4-inch square of canvas will become this center piece on the bookmark. When you are cutting out your scraps to make the bookmark, you want to think about what is on the upper right side of the square. That is going to be what is visible when you go to sew. So you might want to do a little special cutting so that you can see a cuter part of your pattern if you have a pattern. These sew up so fast, it's crazy. So first step is to pick your piece that's going to become the triangle and just fold that in half along the diagonal. Then we're going to place it on top of a piece of canvas. Just going to use this gray square. And then we want to pick our piece for the back, and we're going to put it right side on top of the triangle. And I want to point out that the canvas is also right side up, so that these two are what you're going to see when you're done sewing. And then the third square just goes right on top. And then we're going to take these 3 pieces to the machine, and we're going to sew along the edges with a 1/4-inch seam allowance. You could pin them together if you want, but you definitely don't have to. I'm going to start my stitches on this part of the bookmark rather than over where the triangle meets the edges. And I want to leave an opening in the side so that I can turn the whole thing right side out. So I'm just going to turn this around, and I'm going to do a little back stitch here at the beginning, and then I'm going to go all the way around with a 1/4-inch seam allowance. Okay, and I've made it back around to the same side where I started, so I'm just going to go forward a little bit, and then I'm going to back stitch and stop. Once that seam is finished, you can actually see it better on the back there. I am going to trim off the tips on the corners, but I don't want to cut my thread, of course. And then I am going to iron this opening. It's just where I left an opening in the seam. I'm going to iron the fabric down. It's going to make it easier in the next step. Now that it's ironed, I'm just going to turn this whole thing right side out through the opening. And I'm going to want my handy dandy chopstick. Okay, I got my chopstick. And I'm going to flip that corner around to the right spot and push out all the corners. I want to make sure to flip the triangle fabric to the correct side. So we wanted it to look like this, or I did. I don't know how you felt about it. Let me know in the comments what little critters you would like to see. This one has mice and alligators and penguins. Okay. Now I am going to tuck the opening back in again and press things really well. And then I'm going to top stitch along this bottom edge. If you wanted, you could top stitch all the way around all 4 sides. That's totally up to you. All right, I'm back at my machine. I'm doing this last seam just along these two edges, and I'm going to backstitch at the beginning and at the end and just go straight down. I'm doing about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I gotta tell you, these bookmarks are so fast. I'm gonna make one for everyone in my family for the holidays this year. Don't tell them. Okay, one more little back stitch, and it is done. I trimmed the loose threads, and the bookmark is totally done. And it fits perfectly onto the page of a book, just like that. If you're looking for more fun scrap busting projects like this one, I'd love for you to check out my membership. Just click on the join button beneath this video to learn more.